Welcome back to Legacy Truths. Today we're going to be talking about the attack and really the attempt to utterly destroy Western civilization and Western culture, which is really based on the United States' idea of, and what our Declaration of our Independence so eloquently states, that we have the freedom to speak our mind, to bear arms, to have private property. We are our own kings and queens. And so stick around. We're going to get into it. So we see that what's happening in America right now, and with all of this outside attack on what we're doing, and how our president make America great again, and how people on the left are just really kicking and screaming and saying that what he's doing is extremely racist, or he's a misogynist, and he's this and he's that because he's building the wall, and he's not for immigration, he's not for this kind of things. And we can see that there's not only attack on excuse me, what we believe as a collective about what is right, what is wrong, how we conduct a business here, how we do things here. And it really harkens back to the time that in Corinth, in First Corinthians, Paul was writing letters to his churches, and one of the churches he was writing to was in this place called Corinth, and we know them as the Corinthians, and they were in a town or a place where there was a lot of pagan worship. There was a lot of mixing of other religions, and there was Mithraism. They celebrated Saturnalia and all these different pagan holidays. And so Paul is writing these letters to the Corinthians, tell them, hey, don't let nobody judge you when you follow the Torah, which is the God's instructions of how to live, and God's law, really. And he's telling them, run your race, you're doing well, keep up the good fight, because these outside forces, they want to take in what you believe in and what you hold secure and safe. They want to rip that apart, or they want to blend what their religions are with what we believe, and that's not good. And it's interesting because we can look here at 1 Corinthians chapter 9. We're going to start in verse 19. Let me make this a little bit bigger for you guys. So I kind of like how this is on the Bible Hub, and it says right here. There we go. It says, For I be free from all men, yet I have made myself a servant unto all, that I may gain the more. And unto the Jews, because I, as a Jew, that I might gain the Jews. To them that are under the law, as under the law, that I might gain them under the law. And to them that are without the law, as without the law, being without the law of God, but under the law of Christ, which is Yeshua, our Mashiach, our Messiah, Jesus Christ, that I may gain them that are without the law. That I may gain them that without the law. To the weak become as I weak, that I might gain the weak. That I am made all things to all men, that I might by all means save some. As this I do for the gospel's sake, that I might be a partaker thereof with you. So he's telling me, we're a servant, we're there, we're out to preach, we're preach the gospel of God's good news and his word, and of his only begotten Son and what he did for us. And he goes on to also talk about how it's running your race. And he says here in verse 24, know not that ye which run in a race run at all, but one receiveth the prize. So run that you may obtain, and that every man striveth for the mystery of the temperate of all things. Now they do unto obtain the corruptible crown, but we are incorruptible. I therefore so run, not unnecessarily to fight, I not as the one beneath the air, but under my body, and bringeth into subjection, lest these by any means, when I have preached unto others, I myself should be cast away. So he's saying there is, you know, I'm running my race. I don't care if I'm going to win this thing. I'm not winning it for the prize. It's the old adage of, it's not the destination, but it's the journey to get there. The old adage. And so, even though the in verse 24, finishing the 27, it gets a kind of little "ye may run." I'm using the King James version. I do like this the version. But I really enjoy that he says, through the gospel, we are all become free men. And and he says, but you know what? Even though we become a free man, I make myself a servant to all people. And this is an idea of where we, because Paul's no dummy. Paul is a very intelligent person, and he's classically trained in the Greek schools. So he's acutely aware of the encroachment of Roman culture, Greek society. He's acutely aware of when one culture clashes or comes into another culture, of what that can mean. And he's talking about keep the sovereignty of what you believe in, even though you're in the land of Gentiles and these people are worshiping other gods, and they're practicing divination and all these things around you that tell me, hey, it's okay to celebrate this and do this. It's okay. We'll sacrifice to your God too. It's okay. And he's telling don't be that, but also be a light of it to all the world. So I look at this destruction of Western civilization, and there's a off WordPress. Let's see what this is. This says destruction of Western civilization, how to destroy a country. It's by Paul Weston. But what was interesting, he goes on, obviously the early part of it, but down here it's very interesting when he talks about Karl Marx, and it's very interesting. We're seeing that happening right now with Antifa and all of these super left-wing people that are coming out of the woodworks, and their logos and their ideas and their mission statements look more like manifestos from this individual right here. And it says, which is very interesting. Let me say this here. Karl Marx wrote of an anarchy necessary as a precursor to outright revolution, in which he would, quote, stand astride the reckoning and the colossus, end quote. Lucas, whose reputation in the revolutionary world was almost on par with Marx himself, and said, I saw the revolutionary destruction of a society as the one only solution. A worldwide overturning of values cannot take place without the annihilation of the old values and the old creation of the new ones by the revolutionaries. So this is what he's basically stating right here, is a worldwide overturning. So this is like socialism at its supremest, obviously by, like I said, almost on par with Marx himself. A worldwide overturning of values. What are values? I mean, we're talking values are the things that you and I do every single day when we go either to get gas, or when you talk to your mailman, or your trash man comes, or you go to the grocery store, the checkout lady. These are things that the values we hold, and when we want to change something and where we live at, we go vote on it, and that helps us to change things, how we do it through our values. And when we start degrading these values and start getting into a point of everything is okay, this is all right, we can do this, we can do that, that's all right, this LGBTQIP, I can't even, it's getting out of control, and saying, it's this whole pound me too movement just going on, it's becoming crazy, because it's like, you look at this, what this individual right here is talking about, it's The communists really did have a global aspiration. So countries outside their military sphere would not simply ignore and written off. They were embarked on destabilization and subversion to be taken over at a later date. The Kremlin office assigned this task was the Department of Indignation and Propaganda, which worked as Western communist parties, including the Communist Party of USA, the Communist Party of Great Britain, Communist Party USA. Let's go this right here. Communist Party USA, established in 1919. Let's get this little thing here. Okay. And the Communist Party of Great Britain. So this is across the pond here. Oh, that looks so nice and pretty right here. When was it established? Existed from 1920 to 1991. Wow. Wow. That's crazy. So, I mean, during and after World War II, the Soviet communists gobbled up as much of Europe as they could. Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia disappeared behind the Iron Curtain, followed by Poland, Hungary, Romania, Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia, Bulgaria, East Germany. In essence, any country within Moscow's military strike capability fell into its clutches and became part of the Soviet Empire. So, you know, when you're seeing these people march and we want this, I mean, this is what happens. This is we already seen the end result of what happens when these outside agencies try to come in and really start grasping and gripping the freedom of speech, the private property, being able to buy and sell and do commerce, and this is happened World War I, World War II. I mean, we've seen this for sure. Now we look at what's happening now with all these immigrants coming into these different countries because of the tragedy that's happening, and I you know I was on a podcast earlier today, and we were talking about just what's happening within Germany with all of these refugees coming in, and with Germany having, I believe, a population of about 80,000, and they let in so many 80 million. And they've let in so many refugees that there's parts of Germany that no longer resemble Germany, but actually resemble places like Bosnia and these places. And it's interesting. So I got this off of DW.com, and this is kind of recapping. It's a couple of years ago, but it does put it in perspective about. These are the numbers about a couple of years ago, and it's leading up to it, and it's literally refugees coming up in there, and it's basically on August 25th, 2015, Germany decided to suspend the Dublin procedure for Syrians, which meant that refugees from the country no longer had to be sent back to the first EU country that they entered. August 31st, German Chancellor declared, "Wir schaffen das." We can do this, Europe. Okay, so in 2015, coming September, Germany and Austria started to take in refugees who were stuck in Hungary, because Hungary didn't want to take them. The Munich's main train station passed out candy. Okay, the Volksförderstuker, which is the welcome center. Oh, there you go, welcome culture. Okay, the most desirable. The welcome culture and the country became the most desirable destination for asylum seekers in Europe. Look at that right there. This is in 2015. 2 weeks later, okay, Germany beginning the strengthening controls in its border and blah, blah, blah. They started, yes, we love you, Germany. We love you. Let's go on to... so in 2015, December-ish time frame, around 890,000 asylum seekers came to Germany. Literally almost 1/80th of the whole country's population. And it kind of puts it into a little bit more perspective right here. So you're talking, so I mean, it's already coming up, now, yes, they've tapered down, but, this is the entered asylum seekers. I mean, you're going to see there's a huge fluctuation. Um, there's initial applicants, this and that, and they can see, yes, well, the numbers have gone down, they've gone down, and actually this is an older one, and they're still coming in. Let's go down here to 2000, I think. So all these refugees is turning this place into this, There's asylum seekers who failed. Failed asylum seekers. Amari from Tanzania deliberately drove a truck into a Christmas market in Berlin, where 12 people were killed and 56 injured. He was later killed in a shootout near the Italian city of Milan. The attack also brought Chancellor Merkel's open-door asylum policy into question. So all these people are flooding in, and now you're having basically their culture is being brought in to Germany, and all of the war and the craziness that their culture and religious beliefs brings with them is coming, and it's coming into there. On March 3rd, I'm going to make a deal with Tunisia for the country to take back 1,500 rejected Tanzanian migrants from Germany. So now they're starting to say, oh, push back, push back. And we can see this is happening in Europe right now, literally right now. And if we're not careful, this is going to happen right here in America when we start having these sanctuary cities and these things that are happening in sanctuary states. I mean, in 2017, last year, they're meeting with the European Union African leaders in Paris to discuss ways to stem the flow. We're talking to lower the flow down. She's not smiling anymore. Not smiling anymore. So we can just see this is not happening. This is not happening very well, and we can see that if we're not careful, and we get sucked into the extreme leftist lie of we need to be socialized, everybody's social health care, we need no more fences, no more, I can't believe Trump is building the wall, and it's like you don't get it. Why do you have a fence around your house? Well, to keep people out. Well, good job. Well, then are you racist too? Of course not. He's trying to not only make America great again, but he's also trying to retain Western civilization and Western culture, because other cultures and other religions literally will wipe out. It will make us extinct. And if we're not careful, this is something that could like a virus take a hold of America. And I'm really glad that Trump is really aware of this and is focusing on taking care of this problem before it even is existing in our country, because we don't want this type of destruction and death and bombings and shootouts. I mean, in Milan, Paris, this is where they had the not beauty pageants, but fashion shows. I mean, some of the finest fashion shows and fashion designers and creators live and operate in Milan, and now they're having bombs outside these places and cars going into protesters, and you have it's insanity. And we got to definitely pray for our leaders, pray for our president, and remember what the Declaration of Independence even spoke about. Was if we can't subject ourselves to a tyrannical king that tells us what to believe, how much to pay, what we can do, what we can't do, and we wanted to be free from all that, where all men were free and all men were created equal and have the right to buy and sell and to own land and become our own king and have our own queen and make prince and princesses and that, and be able to have that. And if we're not careful, we're going to lose what our founding fathers and the original colonies knew very, very well and kept very close to the heart. So I commend you, read the Constitution, keep that close, keep God's words even closer, and definitely put on the full armor of God, because we are on a destruction, and there's a war against Western civilization and our beliefs on of God and our beliefs on everything from the traditional family cell, a mother, a father, children, and I say, but you just pray with me. So I appreciate you coming back. We'll be doing some more videos out, and yeah, just give a ponder on that.